Today, we're going to be using Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Firefly to create this. Let's open a new Photoshop canvas with a width of 1920 pixels and a height of 1080. Make sure the resolution is set to 300, again, pixels/inches, and then click Create. Now, in theory, this technique will work as long as you have a black silhouette on a white background. It doesn't need to be a font. You don't need to have letters. It can be a logo or a shape. It really doesn't matter. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to use the word morph. Now, I'm using the typeface Copper Black. Feel free to use your own typeface or another word of your choice. I'm just going to click Ctrl+T to select that. I'm going to expand it out as I drag from the corner. And then with Shift clicked, I'm just going to find where it slots into the middle of the composition. Once you've done that, go to File, Export, Quick Export as PNG, and get it exported. The next thing we're going to do is open Adobe Firefly. Just click through into it, get Firefly for free. Let's just go over to the little generate button and click through onto that. You'll be greeted with this image here or something similar. You don't really need that at the moment. So just come back up to here where it says aspect ratio, and I would turn that to square. Go down to the bottom and just clear out where it says art, layered paper, or any of the other style options that you have. Just get rid of it for the time being. Now, we're going to start putting in our own prompts. And we just want to begin thinking of some interesting materials that we can attribute to the text that we've created earlier. I'll quickly run you through the ones that I've used, including the text prompts, so you can get a better understanding of how it works. Again, it really is up to you in terms of the direction that you want to go. At the start of the prompt, I choose a material. And then for the rest of the prompt, I end it with white background, studio lighting, 8K, high detail. I'll leave all of the prompts that I've used down in the comment section below if you just want to copy and paste to follow along. But I do encourage you to get a little creative with it and come up with your own materials. I'll show you an example of how it works. And just give it a couple of seconds for it to generate those images. And once you've got something you like, click it and then just download it. And now comes the fun part. Go back over to aspect ratio and turn it to widescreen. Then in this section called reference image, we want to upload our text PNG. Just OK through on this. Make sure you turn the strength all the way up. And then scroll down to styles. This is where we're going to upload the images that we've just generated. We want to turn the visual intensity up to max, and the same with the strength as well. Then we want to type our prompt. For this, I start each of my prompts with 3D morph text textured in the style of, then what the style reference was, white background, studio lighting. Again, I'm going to leave all of the prompts that I've used in the comment section down below. You can keep generating until you find something you like. Again, once you've found something, just click on it and download. Now, you could do this in any editor, but I'm going to use After Effects. The first thing I'm going to do is create a sequences folder. And then I'm going to make an assets folder. Just pull that out. Now I'm going to right click, new composition, and call it Morph 16:9. The width will be 1920 and the height will be 1080. I'm going to set it to 24 frames per second. And I will set this to 11 seconds in duration. I'm going to do that because I know that I've got 11 images. Then we want to import our images. I'm just going to grab them and select them with Shift and click, and then drag them all into After Effects. I'm going to push those up into Assets, and then I'm going to drag them all onto my canvas. And I'm going to wait until this little crosshair gets stuck in the middle. And that's when I'm going to let go. The little crosshair is the anchor point tool. And when we go to scale the images down in just a moment, it'll scale down towards where that anchor point is. Now I'm going to scale these together. So I'm going to click the very bottom layer, go to the second from the top, click Shift and click. I'm going to go over to the pick whip icon and drag that over to the first layer. Now all of these layers are connected to the top one. If I then click on the top layer and then press S, it brings up the scale slider. And if I bring that down, it'll drag all of them with it. I'm going to set it to 72. Now I'm just going to click the one underneath it, go all the way to the bottom, Shift click, go into any of these and set it to none. And they're no longer connected to the one at the top. I'm going to click the top one and then U, just to tidy up the timeline. And then I'm going to go a second in, Shift click all of my layers, and then holding Alt on the keyboard and the right bracket tool to cut everything down. Now, I'm just going to zoom in. I'm going to drag these to 1 second. And then one by one, I'm going to hold Control, and then click the top one to deselect it, drag all the other layers along. I'm going to hold Shift, and that will lock them in place. Control click, hold Shift, Control click, hold Shift, all the way to the end. And then if we hit spacebar, they'll start to play. And because we've done 11 seconds, it'll loop again. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can make this go faster. And we're actually going to do that with a bit of time remapping. So again, Shift click to select everything. Then click Control Shift and C. And we're going to make these a pre-composition. I'm going to call it 16 times 9 morph pre-comp. And click Enter. Just going to exit out of this. And then I'm going to right click. I'm going to go up to time and enable time remapping. Now, what will happen is if I bring this end keyframe forward, let's say to 8 seconds, the animation will play a little faster. You'll see that it cuts off at the end. So to get around that, we go to 8 seconds. We click N. Again, just bring it back one. Then right click on this area here and click Trim Comp to Work Area. Now when we play the animation, it'll loop back round. Now, I did do another version of this in a 9:16 format. And if you're curious about how I've done that, I will show you in Photoshop. This time in Photoshop, we're going to set the width to 1080 and the height to 1920. And then with all the images that we had before, we're just going to drag them in again. We're going to hit Enter a bunch of times to get through all of these. And we're going to turn all of the layers off bar one. Go over to the rectangular marquee tool, which is M. And we're going to drag out a box from each side, leaving just the tiniest amount of pixels on the outside of the box we've just drawn. We'll let go, hit Control, Shift and I to reverse the selection, and then we'll go over to Generative Fill and click Generate. Now it's just a matter of choosing one that you like. This looks all right to me. You can continue to generate on aspects that you're not keen on, like this little artifact here. You can generative fill again. And once you're happy, you can select them all. Again, using that lovely shift click that we've learned before. Right click, convert to smart object. Just double click on the name, and I'm going to call it Morph Silk. If you continue to do that for everything, eventually you will have lots of different ones that you can put together. Now, with our shift click again, we can go to Layer, Quick Export as PNG. I've made a 9x16 folder, and you can click Select Folder, and it should add all of those in. There we go, I've got all mine. You know the deal. Back in After Effects, you can drag all of those in. Just going to tidy those folders, make a 16x9 folder and a 9x16 folder. I'm just going to delete the PNG text layer because I don't want that in my new composition. And then we're going to shift click everything again, right click, go to New Comp from Selection, make sure Single Composition is selected. I'm going to set the still duration to 11 seconds. Now, this might be on for the overlap. We don't want to have that, so just turn that off. Make sure that Sequence Layers is selected. Then in theory, we hit OK, and it's all already split out for us. Hey, it's James. Thanks for watching. If you did find this video genuinely helpful and want to do me a favor, you like the video and subscribe to the channel, it would help push me into the algorithm, allowing me to get this content to more people.